Welcome to day 3 of Beginning with the Self, your first step in courageous and compassionate communication. This is Lisbeth. Today we'll be exploring language which disconnects versus language which connects by naming judgments, evaluations, and assumptions and observations. What are judgments, evaluations, and assumptions, and why can they create disconnection when we use them in our conversations? Judgments, evaluations, and assumptions are stories we tell ourselves about what's happening. They're birthed in our past experiences of life, not in reality. This is why they can be disconnecting. No one shares our exact experiences, so our judgments may not resonate with someone who doesn't share the same experiences as we do. If we mistake and we speak our judgments, evaluations, or assumptions as facts or truths, rather than as stories about what we think is happening, we may be invalidating others' experiences and beliefs about what is happening. Judgments, evaluations, and assumptions are stories about what's happening. Observations are what is actually happening. These are the pieces of an experience which could be captured in a picture or a video. For example, an observation is, the car passed me on the right. A judgment around the same situation could be, the car was driving too fast and dangerously. Using that same example, an observation might be, the law is to pass on the left, but the car passed me on the right. And a judgment could be, the driver was rushed and just wanted to get ahead, so he passed me on the right. Observations have less chance of being disconnecting because they are aspects of an experience which pretty much everyone will agree on, given that they're seeing the situation from the same sensory perspective. Watch the following video. After you've watched it, pause this lesson and write a brief description of the video in your journal. Here are some observations I think that we can agree on in watching this video. For my ease, I'm calling one of the adults in the video she and the other one he. I don't actually know how they identify. I'm calling the baby they. So some observations that we could make. There's 3 people in the video, 2 adults, 1 infant. He says something. She nods her head up and down and then smiles. He looks maybe somewhere in front of him. She looks at the infant. The infant raises their hand. Her shoulder moves up while she's looking at the infant. Now look at your description and circle any judgments you made about what's happening in the video. So here are some assumptions that we could make while we're watching the video about what's happening. She and he are married and this is their child. He's the baby's father, she's the new babysitter. She's the mother and he's the babysitter. They run a daycare and this is a new arrival. They're at a park enjoying their weekend. They're happy and excited to have a baby. He's babysitting and he's invited her to come along to impress her with his baby skills. All right, time for today's task. Consider a time when you felt strong emotions. Now pick a moment during that experience when your emotions were triggered. Likely there was a critical stimulus, something someone said or did, when your emotions jumped up in intensity. Be specific. Write a description of that moment in time. Now, read your description. Look for judgments and evaluations. Get rid of anything which couldn't be caught on a camera image and by a voice recording. Make sure to use phrases like, He spoke with a volume and tone that hurt my ears rather than he yelled. Save your original description. And now rewrite your description as an observation. So let's do a body check-in. Read your first description, close your eyes, and notice what it feels like in your body. Now read your second description, the one which is a strict observation, and notice how that feels in your body. Time to journal and share. What did you notice about your body when you were reading the two different kinds of statements, the judgment and the observation? What do you think your body is telling you with this difference? Are you ready for today's challenge? Yes, you are. Be like a scientist. Observe. Practice making observations. For example, she doesn't want to help will become she said no to my request. Or I never do it right will become the project I completed has some mistakes. All right, yippee! Another day completed. Time to celebrate. And remember, you create the world you live in every moment and with every thought and every action. The more connected you are to yourself, the easier it is to create a life which resonates with your heart and your soul. Cheers.